Commission meeting of August 11th. I call it to order, and I ask you to please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. That will bring us to our roll call.
Chair Nemeth,
Here.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Here.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Here.
Commissioner Elise,
Here.
Commissioner Frogger-Sains.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. All 5 commissioners are in attendance. Item 4 is our review of our agenda. Ms. Taggart.
Thank you. So you did receive a revised agenda for item 8C. There was an error in the naming convention for the applicant, so the secondary name was added there. And then there's also a memorandum for item 8A to amend some conditions, do a little minor tweaks to the tentative map, and then include some documentation that was left out of the staff report.
All right, thank you very much. May I please get a motion to waive the full reading of all resolutions on the agenda for this meeting?
So moved.
Second it?
I have a motion from Commissioner Henderson and a second from Commissioner Frogger-Sains. May I please get a voice vote on the motion?
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Elise,
Yes.
Commissioner Frogger-Sains.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes with 5 yes votes. That brings us to item 6, which is our public comments. If anybody is here to speak on a non-agendized item or on our consent calendar, this is the time that you would come forward to speak. Our consent calendar this evening consists of approving the minutes from last month's meeting. If you are here to speak on a public hearing item, you will come up when that item is called. Is there anybody here for general public comments? All right, then that will move us to our consent calendar. May I please get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second it?
I have a motion from Commissioner Henderson and a second from Commissioner Frogger-Sains. May I please get a voice vote?
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Elise,
Yes.
Commissioner Frogger-Sains.
Yes.
The motion passes with 5 yes votes. That brings us to our first public hearing, item number 8A.
Great. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. This is a request from Pacific Communities to subdivide 31 acres into 130 numbered lots and 1 lettered lot for the purpose of constructing 127 single-family homes, 3 detention basins. The project is located at the northwest corner of Avenue R8 and 45th Street East. And as shown here, it's adjacent to Mesquite Elementary and is surrounded by residential development and 1 vacant parcel. Next slide. All lots meet or exceed the Palmdale Municipal Code minimum lot requirements. And primary access to the subdivision will be provided from a new access drive, Pegasus Way, from 45th Street East, and from 43rd Street East from Avenue R8. Internal circulation will be provided by 6 internal cul-de-sac. The project will include full street improvements on Pegasus Way and 43rd Street East, and half-street improvements on East Avenue R8, 42nd Street East, and 45th Street East. In addition, traffic calming measures have been included at the intersections as shown in green and along the project frontage. The city engineer and the fire department have reviewed the project and determined that there is adequate access provided. In addition, 3 detention basin lots are indicated in blue. And there will be a lettered lot that has an existing well on site. And there was an environmental document that was prepared for this. Mitigation measures were included for air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, geological resources, noise, and tribal cultural resources to reduce impacts to a less than significant level. And so the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program were circulated and were revised based on comments received. And as previously mentioned, there was a memo for this with minor changes to the conditions of approval. And with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution as amended, approving tentative track map 60148 and adopt the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program prepared for the project. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stacknick. Do any commissioners have technical questions for staff at this time?
What is traffic calming? What does that entail?
So for this particular project, there'll be bulb outs and some traffic circles. It's just, to avoid speeding on, straight
Okay.
areas. So it's just trying to keep the traffic.
Safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Is that just a traditional roundabout?
So there are many
Or
traffic
a
circles.
mini
I think our transportation engineers here, so it might be.
Okay.
I think he has a
Can you
similar
bring
question.
the map up again? The other one? Okay. So they answered my first question that Chris asked, the traffic calming. For me, it's
Hello?
a little bit about detention basin lots.
So the detention basin lots are to manage the stormwater on site.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you want to speak to the traffic engineer, Commissioner Henderson, or you
I,
think you're good?
I'm good.
Okay. You're off the hook for a moment. All right,
Ooh,
then
I
if
like
there are
that.
no more technical questions, I will open the public hearing on
I
this.
had one question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about the air quality, since it'll be doing the land clearance in that particular area?
So the project is required to get permits from the Antelope Valley AVA QMD. And, yeah, so that they're required to comply with all of their requirements.
Okay. Now, will the land clearance be done, excuse me, will the land clearance be done, early morning, late evening? Because I know that it's next to an elementary school, and we all, want to have the kids safe during that.
Right. So there are conditions of approval that all construction activities have to be within certain times of the day, not before 6:30 and not after 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. There's also a condition of approval that has all construction activity be aware of Mesquite Elementary and their schedule, so they're trying to schedule as much as possible during summer hours or vacations.
Okay, thank you very much. I will open the public hearing on this item. If there is anybody here to speak on this item, please come forward and state your name, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anyone other than the applicant here for this item? Okay, then I am going to guess that you are Nelson Chung. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioner. I'm so thrilled to be here almost over 3 years. So I don't have anything different than the staff report. We concur with the staff report. I just want to be here in person to thank you for your support, and also special thanks to your staff, because if you notice, we have quite a few projects in the city, but we are end user on most of our map we entitled. So we're very particular in our design every time. For instance, I'm glad Commissioner point out that traffic calming device. Actually, we back forth with staff a few times, massage that. The purpose of that, whenever there is a long stretch of a straight street, we want to slow it down at the intersection. So by necking down, it's not that we want to cause more trouble. that, the purpose of that, and the roundabout also does the same thing. So, and this is a further evidence for most of our project at this stage. Everything is set. The product, the phasing plan, the model location, everything is set. So, so that's it. And thank you, and appreciate the opportunity to be here, and the privilege to build in your city. And I'm here to answer any question you may have. I believe our civil engineer, Mr. Abadi, also on the call. So,
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Chung. Do any commissioners have questions for the applicant?
It's maybe a question for the applicant and maybe even staff. So we're just doing a tentative track map here, but it looks like he actually has finished product. Is that gonna come to us at a future time? Or once we approve the track map, does that also then approve the rest of the project?
So the rest of the project will be approved administratively through a subdivision development plan. So there's some requirements for, basic design requirements that are reviewed by staff.
And so this is gonna be another one of the Pacific communities, correct?
yes, sir.
Will these have Mello-Roos?
Possibly.
Possibly.
And glad you mentioned that, that fundamentally, Mello-Roos or no Mello-Roos, at the end of the day, buyer pay.
Oh, I understand.
There's
I'm
no
just
free
noticing,
lunch, but
I've kind of noticed it in the Pacific communities throughout the Antelope Valley. That's been kind of a, something I've noticed. They typically have a bit of a Mello-Roos assessment on them.
most of the project in the city, nowadays, not only in Antelope Valley, in everywhere we building, more or less has Mello-Roos or CFD. The reason for that is that the fees, like including water fee, nowadays like approaching almost 70,000, just a fee alone.
Really?
Yes, yes, sir.
You're saying for just water or?
No, no,
for
just
everything?
all the fee together.
Oh, all the fees?
Yes.
Together?
Just the fee.
Right, okay.
We haven't put a stick in the air and put a single stuff in the ground. And on top of that, the improvement cost has run up so much, like roughly about, say, 55, 60,000 per lot. Say 2 years ago, now it's about, we just finished a project called Wildflower on Avenue R in the 35th. We just opened actually 2 weeks ago. It came out almost like 115 just to finish the lot. So ready to build a house. So we need every single help we can get, particularly if we're anticipating a down cycle. I'm almost 70 years old, and 2 more months I'll be there. So,
Right.
so I learned, who does not prepare themselves is not going to be standing.
Yeah. The other thing I notice is Pacific Communities is one of the most active builders in the area, where a lot of them have gone away. So I guess that Mello-Roos is what's keeping it going.
Well, everything, and that's why we don't take anything for granted. We appreciate the cooperation and collaboration with the staff and the commissioner for a lot of reasons. For instance, recently when we opened Wildflower, we had to use generator because Edison is nowhere in sight. We have the cable conduit in the ground, but they don't come in to set a meter. What do you do?
Yeah.
So we have to approach the city ask for the permission. So it happened, and nowadays we short of everything, short of veneer stone, short of appliances. GE appliance sometimes 9 months.
Okay, we need to
12
stay on target here with what we're approving this evening. So I do
Oh,
appreciate
sorry,
all the
sorry.
backstory.
Back to the
but-
tentative track map. Okay.
Back to the tentative track map.
Thank you very
that
much.
Yeah.
None of that matters if we don't approve that, so.
Right.
Does anybody else have a question for the applicant? I'm gonna get you back up here, Mr. Chung, but
So sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Chung. I want to know, how long will it take for the first phase build out?
On this particular project, between us and the grading permit, there is one thing we don't know, which is the Joshua Tree. You're probably familiar with that because there is a very good likelihood they're going to list that by October. If it does happen, by first quarter of next year will become official. But normally what happens after that is it may take a year for them to come up with the mitigation measurement. That put us in a bind because other than that, we already commissioned our civil engineer to kick off the improvement plan. So basically, we in, say, 4 months, we'll be in the city for a plan check. But when can we start the grading? That's the, I think it's, sorry for a long explanation for that. But once we start grading normally, say, about, say, a year, you will see model.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much. All right, is there anybody else here to speak on this item? All right, if there is no objection, then we will close the public hearing on this item. And I will be open for a motion or a discussion on the item, remembering there's an amendment to this item.
Okay, I'd make a motion to adopt resolution as amended number PC-2022-023, approving tentative track map 60148 and adopting the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and report program prepared for the project.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Fragasains and a second from Commissioner Henderson. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, then we shall call for the voice vote, please.
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lees,
Yes.
Commissioner Fragasains.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that the motion passes with 5 yes votes. Thank you very much for your time, and we are not offended if you were to leave now. You do not have to stay for the rest of my meeting. Thank you very much. All right, and that will bring us to our next public hearing, item 8B. Hi, Sam,
Hi.
welcome.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Nice to see you again, and nice to meet some of you. This project is for conditional use permit 517, time extension number 2. The proposed project is a request for the continued operation of a previously approved major wireless telecommunications facility for a period of 10 years located at 190 Sierra Court. The existing facility was, previous slide. The existing facility was originally approved on July 20, 2006 under CUP 517 for a period of 10 years. And in 2016, a time extension to the facility was approved by the Planning Commission for an additional 5 years. Next slide, please. The existing facility consists of a 59-foot tall monopole and a 240 square foot ground mounted equipment enclosure. Next slide, please. There are no physical alterations to the facility being proposed at this time. Should there be any requested modifications to the wireless facility in the future, they will be reviewed under a separate approval process. Next slide, please. An initial study was prepared for the project in conjunction with CUP 517, and in July 2006, the Planning Commission adopted a mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, finding that with incorporation of the mitigation measures, the project would not have a significant impact on the environment. The request includes an extension of time with no physical alterations to the facility. As such, no further documentation is required, and the previously approved environmental document adequately addresses the project. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC 2022-031, approving CUP 517, TE number 2, and find that the project is consistent with the previously adopted M&D and mitigation and monitoring and reporting program. With that, this concludes staff's report. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dominguez. Do any commissioners have technical questions for staff at this time? All right, then I will open the public hearing on this item. If anybody is here to speak on this item, Please step forward and state your name, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. And I forgot this on the last item, Miguel. Anybody out in Zoom land?
None at this time.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good. All right, then if nobody is here to speak on this item, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion or discussion on the item.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution PC 2022-31, approving conditional use permit 05017, time extension number 2, and find that the project is consistent with the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program.
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Henderson and a second from Commissioner Fraga-Sains. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, then we shall call for the voice vote, please.
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Elise,
Yes.
Commissioner Fraga-Sains.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that the motion passes with 5 yes votes. Thank you very much, Mr. Dominguez, for your presentation. And that will bring us to our next public hearing, item 8C. Ms. Magana, welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. Long time no see.
No, good to see you
Welcome
again.
back.
So I'll be presenting tonight on behalf of Jasmine Alvarado. The project before you tonight is tentative track map 60008, submitted on behalf of Rodeo Credit Enterprises LLC. Next slide. The applicant has requested to subdivide approximately 89 acres into 266 lots for the purpose of constructing 262 single-family residences and 4 basin lots in 4 different phases, located at the southeast corner of East Avenue S and 60th Street East. As shown here, the site is located right across from Quail Valley Elementary School. Next slide. When fully developed, access to the project site will be provided from East Avenue S to the north and East Avenue S8 to the south from 60th Street East and 62nd Street East. Internal circulation provides access to existing and future tracks. So if you look at the screen here, you'll see that there is a roundabout about in the middle of the map there, and then there are bulb outs throughout the design. All lots meet the minimum width, depth, and area requirements. Next slide. Phase 1 will consist of lots 164 through 229 and 250 through 259 for a total of 76 lots. Pavement and frontage improvements adjacent to East Avenue S and extension of existing local streets. Phase 2 will include lots 136 through a total of 55 lots and on and off-site improvements. Phase 3 will include 92 lots and then pavement and frontage improvements to the north half of East Avenue S8. Phase 4 will include 43 lots and completion of all on-site improvements. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC 2022-030, approving TTM 60008, and find that the project will require minor revisions as outlined within the addendum prepared to the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration. Staff and the applicant are available for questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Magana. Do any of our commissioners have technical questions for staff at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you bring up that map again? So as I see that, this one, yes. It's close to 2 schools, and I see in the middle of the roundabout, that's a traffic calming, as I just learned, right? In the future, because of the surrounding of schools and traffic is gonna go up, is this project gonna be in the future implementing another traffic calming construction to minimize further traffic? Or this is the only one that
So
we're constructing at this time?
this is the only map that's being constructed at this time. And so this is the design of the project as a whole.
Thank you.
Any other technical questions for staff? All right, then at this time, I will open the public hearing on this item. If anybody is here to speak on this item, please come forward and state your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. We will not be entering a dialogue with you, so if you do ask any questions, we will write them down and try to get them answered during our discussion.
Cheryl Jackson, Earl and Cheryl Jackson. We're on the corner of Avenue S and 60th. We're in the Beezer homes. And I don't know where these homes are, where all these people are going to fit. I hear accidents all morning long. Thank God, at Kaiser, I'm working at home right now. But I have an evening job that I go to down the hill in Burbank, and I can't even get out of there at 3 o'clock to go to that job because of the traffic. It's horrible. It's only one lane. How do these, if you already building, we're here, and you can't go anywhere. Down the street, it's another community coming, and now this 65th is a community coming. They're building right now. And then it's this community on Avenue S and 60th. How are we going to get out of our homes across the street at Beezer? We are right there on 60th East and Avenue S, and we cannot leave. We have to pick and choose when we can leave our home. It's horrible. Traffic is horrible. We hear accidents all day long. There are no lights. I don't even know where this roundabout is going or where it's at. There's no roundabouts there now, so I don't even know how can you build a roundabout right there. I don't see it. It's horrible.
What I want to say is we moved there in '07 when the establishment was first built. We were told that our street, which is Cannon Court, when you come off of S and you make a right off of 60th, if you stand on our porch, we're where the street sign is. Make a long story short, you have the elementary on the corner and the turn inside the houses there. So we have 1 million Joshua trees in the desert towards the 138. So we were told when we brought the home that was supposed to become a cul-de-sac. That was incorrect information. I could say it better, but I'm gonna leave it at that. So anyway, that never happened. So we were told that the Joshua trees have rights. That's why they've never been moved or, et cetera, et cetera. So we're wondering what changed. And is the interest of the homes, are they going to be coming off of S to where when they go past us, is that where you will be entering, which will be south towards the 138? So, because we're literally right there on Cannon Court, there's a little pathway, then the dirt. So if you start tearing up opening that up, we're only talking from me to the pole. That's a big difference.
Not to mention, P. Knight is down the street, and traffic is, I don't know where these new kids coming from, but it's horrible. They had to change the school times. You can't, I'm telling you, I sit there and look all day with my coffee in the window. It's horrible. You cannot, you're literally sitting there on that one-way street. I can see if you added 2 or 3 lanes, you would need, for all the people that they're trying to put here, we need at least 3 lanes going each way.
And another question I had, is it going to be low-income housing or if it's just regular? I wanted to know that as well.
All right.
Who do we have? Oh, you don't answer that. Oh, okay.
She's part of it.
Okay, so
Yeah, we will try and get your questions answered
Okay.
during our discussion time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, I appreciate it. Is there anybody else here to speak on this item? Is our applicant?
Yes, the applicant is here.
Hi, Chair and Commissioner. I'm Henrik Nazarian, the civil engineer for the project and representing the applicant since she was out of town and couldn't attend. I would like to actually start with mentioning 2 facts about the design of the project. We do have a proposed traffic signal at 60th and S, so maybe some of the concern that was just mentioned will be addressed. When this project is built, you'll have a traffic signal where you don't have it right now. And also Avenue S will be widened on the south side, so you'll have a much wider street that you have right now for better traffic. So those are the 2 things I just heard and thought maybe I should address that.
Thank you very much for addressing those. And then I know the other question was the entrance location for this. Can we show that map? Ms. Magana, if you can show the main
I
entrance.
think
or-
Megan's trying to get it.
I know, but I want Ms. Magana to show me where the entrance is once it's up there.
There are at least 5 or 6 different entrances to this project. One from S, as you can see on the top, where the traffic signal is going to be. On the west, you have an entrance, 2 on the East for Future project that also is being processed right now, and 1 on the south from S8. So there are multiple entrances for this project.
Okay, and there will be a traffic signal going in at 60th Street East and Avenue S.
That there is a proposed traffic signal for 60th Street East and Avenue S, yes.
And a widening of Avenue S.
And widening an
across
Avenue
the-
S, all fronting the project
Fronting
on
the
the south side.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, and will the homes, are they going to be low-income housing or?
I don't know if I want to answer that, or Megan maybe want, this is obviously, we're a developer, we're just getting this
Right, we're just
tentative
trying to get it
approved, so
built,
we're
so
not
we don't
building
know.
it, so,
Right.
but I would assume no, the answer is no.
I have not heard that it would be for anything other than market rate housing.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do any commissioners have questions for the applicant at this time?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you for your presentation. You said to answer the question of widening. When you say widening each way, how many lanes each way when you say widening?
It's widening from the current condition. So the Avenue S has the ultimate section that probably your traffic engineer can explain better. I think it's 100 feet full right away. So on the south side, we will build to the built-out system. Right now, I think you have only 1 lane on the south side. We'll have it to the ultimate with curb and gutter and sidewalk and everything. Right now, none of that exists here.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Will those homes be Melrose also?
Again, because we're a developer, we're not builder, that's out of our control. The builder can decide on that, so I don't know the answer.
Okay. And you said the builder, do they live in the area?
I don't live here, but I've been working in Palmdale, Lancaster for
Okay.
25 years, so.
All right. Do they understand that how the impact of traffic in the community is going to be detrimental to the people that actually live there?
You're referring just about this
Yeah,
project?
for the project, yes.
Well, again, I'm not the traffic engineer. There's been a traffic report, environmental study on this project, like any other project that you have in front of you, and all the other tentative. This wasn't one other thing I should mention, this was an approved tentative with 284 or 289 lots. We actually have 20 fewer lots. We had to reapply and go through the entire process to get something that was already approved years ago. So this is nothing new. You or predecessor, someone at the Planning Commission years ago approved this project already.
And I understand that. But you said there's going to be about 266 homes, correct?
262 single-family, 4 detention basin, total of 266
Okay.
lots.
Now, let's just say that there are two homes, 2 cars per home, right? So 500 new cars is going to be added to the area, correct?
Potentially.
As a complete build-out,
Potentially.
correct? All right, now it's 500 plus new cars in that area, in an already impacted area.
Again, I'm not a traffic engineer. I can't answer that question, you know.
If I may interject, we have our traffic engineer here who reviewed the
Okay.
study.
Yeah.
All right, if I could please
Thank
ask
you.
our traffic
Okay.
engineer, thank you very much, to come forward.
I'm Jay Nelson, the city traffic engineer, been with the city for a year, been a registered traffic engineer for over 25 years. Avenue S, when it completes the improvements on the south, will have 2 lanes each way, which has a capacity for 10,000 cars a day. All schools have significant congestion for 20 minutes before, half an hour before school starts, and for 15, 20 minutes when school gets out. And there's no way to avoid it. We're not gonna build a 30-lane road for 20 minutes out of the day when the rest of the day it's not needed. So there's plenty of capacity there to serve 200 homes, especially with 3 different access points. And the traffic signal will alleviate entirely the issue of during those few peak times when it is a little difficult, they will have the traffic signal to get out. And then the off-peak times today, I ride my bike out there, there is significant traffic. I'm not diminishing what the resident has pointed out, But there's traffic congestion around every school
Well, yeah,
in every city.
Yeah, that happens to every school. But I actually live there, so I know that it takes about more than an hour or 2 hours to get out of there because of the traffic. Not toward the elementary school, but actually Pete Knight High School. And you have traffic incoming into Pete Knight High School, which is detrimental to people that live there that are trying to go to work. They're going in the opposite direction. So that's what is impactful to the people that live there.
It's primarily your concern is the access from the street we're talking about where the signal will go?
Avenue S, we would love to see something, like you said, street widening, adding more lanes, stops, yields, traffic lights, or different access routes. You can go through Paddington Drive, things like that.
The city, since it was founded 60 years ago, basically have built the roads as development occurs. And that's why you'll see some places where the road's narrow and other places where it's been widened out to the full capacity. And so this development will help with all those improvements along the project frontage. And then as development occurs in other places, that will fill in. But as a traffic engineer that's looked at hundreds of traffic studies, it will function well most of the day.
Okay.
And I think it's important to note that this is a residential zone and we are building residences, and that it is within all of the requirements and zoning ordinance and the general plan, and we're not asking for any modifications.
Any more questions?
Are we okay?
Just real quickly about the traffic calming, is that kind of a new technique or whatever that's kind of starting to be added in, the little kind of roundabouts? And are those full roundabouts or those mini roundabouts?
It's a mini roundabout.
Mini roundabout. That's
But
what it looked like.
Traffic calming measures started 20, 30 years ago. The number one complaint I get as the city traffic engineer is residents calling about people speeding in front of their house. And when we have long, straight roads that don't have anything to potentially slow them down, we get higher and higher speeds. And California law requires us to set the speed limit at what 85% of the drivers drive. In residential neighborhoods, we by default can set the speed limit at 25 as long as there's a certain number of homes along the road frontage. But we still have people speeding way over the 25 miles per hour. And we found statistically when we put those roundabouts in, it does slow people down a little bit. The other purpose of the bulb outs is we're trying to enhance pedestrian safety. And so it's a shorter distance for pedestrians. We have the wider roads so people can park in front of their houses, but right at the intersection where children and people will cross, now it's 8 feet shorter to cross on both sides, so 16 feet shorter, and the shorter the roadway is to cross. The pedestrians are walking out more that they can be seen from the cars better. It's just significantly safer. And so for all new developments where it makes sense, we're asking for bulb outs and traffic calming, and the developers work to put those in this
So is that
project.
a new term? You said
Bulb out?
Bulb outs, those have been around too for 20 or 25
so
years.
it's
It's basically
what
just
looks
at the
like a roundabout.
intersections to reduce the pedestrian crossing, and it basically extending the curb where the 8 foot of parking would be on each side of the street. And so they have less distance to cross. It is a significant safety measure. And because of the bulb out, the road looks a little narrow, and that has been found to slow cars down a little bit. So it doesn't affect the capacity of the road, but by slowing, we call it calming because we're tending to try to get drivers to slow down. Be aware that you're in a residential neighborhood, there could be kids playing there, and the lower the speed when any collision occurs, the better the outcome from the collision.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see more of those. I personally, I call roundabouts stressabouts because I'm not used to them, and every time I get into one, I kind of freak out.
And they are difficult. We actually do have,
It does make me slow down, yeah.
we have accident or collisions typically increase when the first roundabout's put in, but they're less severe, and over time, statistically, they have significantly less collisions. There's less maintenance costs. There's lots of advantages to them, and there's cities all over the country that have had them in for 30 years.
And then the bulb out is another nice thing where the curb is just bulging out a little bit to keep it close. So it is nice to see those being implemented when they can in newer projects.
You know, and we design those, obviously in routes where we have trucks, those don't work in industrial areas or something, but in residential neighborhoods, they make a lot of sense.
Okay, any other questions for the traffic engineer?
And you mentioned that this is a residence project, right? So we all support that, but in the interest of calming traffic, has the issue of, if they play a role at all, is speed bumps. Do they help further calm traffic? And if so, has that been discussed?
There's lots of discussion and differing opinions on speed humps. Typically, we wouldn't put a speed bump, which is more what you see in a parking lot because it's an abrupt bump.
Right.
But I know lots of cities, it's more like an 8-foot wide speed hump. It statistically slows down the cars right at the hump about 2 or 3 miles an hour. The problem is a lot of places where they're put in, it increases noise. And between the bumps, because drivers are irritated for having to slow down at the bump, they typically speed up between the bumps to make up for slowing down. And so unless you put one every 500 feet, and you have significant support, and typically a lot of cities have actually made the policy that the residents have to pay for the speed hump, and then if they want to take them out later, they got to pay to take them out, because that happens sometimes. So it's not a fix-all. It has good and bad things. It's designed to drive at 25 miles an hour, and so if you go faster, it gets a little bumpy.
So it works.
Right now, though, we have a city ordinance that bans speed humps in the city of Palmdale. So we would have to change that ordinance and develop a program. We're in the middle right now of the city's sustainable transportation plan. We're looking at safety issues, and we could potentially, cities have developed traffic calming toolboxes and allowed speed bumps with certain criteria, and a lot of times that requires the majority of the residents support it, that they understand the issues, and they would actually have to financially help pay for it too.
Thank you for answering my question.
All right, any other questions for our traffic engineer? Okay, thank you so much for your time. All right, and Ms. Magana, can you touch upon the Joshua Tree situation? I know there's a lot going on in the state and there's things changing, but brief summary on what's happening with the Joshua trees right now.
Sure. So currently there are hearings going on at the CDFW commission level, and they've had now 2 meetings, and they're discussing the potential to either keep the species endangered or allow cities to come up with their own mitigation measures or come up with a mitigation measure or mitigation plan across the state and in those specific affected areas. The next hearing is in October. So as of right now, we are still required to pull an incidental take permit through CDFW. And those are taking about a year or so.
Okay, and all of that is covered in the Joshua Tree Preservation and Management Plan and all of this project, correct?
Correct.
So just to clarify, so our municipal code no longer requires Joshua trees to be covered within the native desert vegetation preservation plan, because it is now protected by the state under the California Endangered Species Act. So if there are Joshua trees on a project site, they automatically have to go through the state to get the appropriate permits to mitigate for those trees if they're going to be doing any development while the tree is protected under that act.
Thank you very much. All right. Is there anybody else here to speak on this item or anyone in the virtual world? All right. Then, if there is no objection, I will close the public hearing on this item. And I will ask for a discussion or a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution PC 2022-30 approving tentative map 60008 and find that the project will require minor clarifications as outlined with the addendum prepared in the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration for tentative track map 60008.
I'll second it.
All right, let the record show that we have a motion from Commissioner Henderson and a second from Commissioner Fragasains. I would, before I call for the vote on that, I would like to say I believe this project is well conditioned. I think the neighbors nearby will appreciate the Avenue S widening and the stop light at S and 60th. And I do believe it's well designed to protect our Joshua trees. and hopefully give people, some new housing. Our state is demanding that we have lots of new housing, so hopefully this will fill that void as well. So with that being said, may I have a voice vote on this?
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Elise,
Yes.
Commissioner Frogasains.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that the motion passes with 5 yes votes. Thank you all for being here, and we are not offended if you leave right now. So you can stay, you're more than welcome to, but
Thank you.
thank you very much for being here and being involved in our civic world here. That will bring us to item 8D.
Thank you. So this item is zoning ordinance amendment 21-006. This item is a zone ordinance amendment to amend 4 chapters within our Palmdale Municipal Code so that affect multifamily and mixed use. The city was awarded a grant, an SB2 grant from SCAG, in order to develop these design standards that are before you tonight. Next slide. The intent of the design standards, as you are all aware, the city is undergoing a comprehensive general plan update. And with that, we are implementing new designations. And the multifamily design standards are going to promote the high-quality development that is consistent with the draft general plan. It's going to make this the process for development of mixed use and multifamily projects run smoother because there are quantifiable measures in order for staff to make sure that design standards are met. This will provide assurance that all new multifamily and mixed-use development will meet the community needs, and this will also include any development that exceeds 50% of an existing structure. So anything that's going to be remodeled or upgraded will be included in this, and this is also inclusive of affordable housing. Next slide. The design standards speak to site design, building design, parking design, and open space. Next slide. Staff recommends that we adopt Resolution PC 2022-21, recommending City Council approval of zoning ordinance amendment 21-006, and find that the project is exempt from the requirements of CEQA. I'm available for any questions, and the consultant who helped us with this project is also available if there's any specific questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Magana. Do any commissioners have technical questions for staff at this time? All right, then I will open the public hearing on this item. If anybody is here to speak on this item, please call in from Zoom land because there's no one here to speak, I can see.
There's none at this time.
Okay, all right, then, if there is no objection, I will close the public hearing on this item and ask for discussion or a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution PC 2022-21, recommending City Council approve of zoning ordinance amendment 21-006 and find that the project is exempt from the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act.
I second.
All right, let the record show that I have a motion from Commissioner Henderson and a second from Commissioner Alvarez. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, then we shall call for a voice vote.
Chair Nemeth,
Yes.
Vice Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Elise,
Yes.
Commissioner Frogasains.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that the motion passes with 5 yes votes. Thank you very much, Ms. Magana, for your presentations. That will bring us to item 9, our staff communications. Ms. Taggart.
Thank you. So I do have something I do want to point out. You may or may not have heard that it's our 60th birthday this month. It's very exciting. For those that are here tonight, we do have a banner in the back of the room that you are welcome to sign to wish the city happy birthday. And there is going to be a Music in the Park event at 5 p.m. in Dominic Massari Park on next year, on August 25th, for anyone who would like to attend.
Thank you so much. All right. Mr. Bettenhausen, any words of wisdom from you, sir?
Have a great evening.
All right. All right. Item 10 is our Planning Commission communications. Do any of my commissioners have anything to share?
I actually
Commissioner Fraga Sains?
Our Public Arts, wanted me to announce that we have the Kaleidoscope coming up on October 8th from 10 to 6 p.m., the Art and Music Festival at the amphitheater.
All right. Thank you very much.
You guys had that last year, I think, right?
It's
The Kaleidoscope has been
for the
around for quite a
5th
few
year.
years.
Yeah, it's been around.
That was the
It's
first
an
time I
annual
went,
thing.
and it was beautiful, so, yes.
It's always been at the amphitheater. It's right next to the Marie Kerr Park.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, Kaleidoscope has been around. When we canceled the Fall Festival, we didn't have anything for a while, and then one of the staff members came up with this brilliant
Yes.
idea. And we showcase local artists and
Music.
local musicians and local beer and wine vendors and local artisans. So it's phenomenal. It's a
It
great
is, it's beautiful.
opportunity. And for those, Commissioner Fraga Sains is the Planning Commission representative on the Public Arts Committee. So that is why she will be bringing us reports from them every once in a while. The way the Public Arts Committee was formed was various artists, various citizens, and then they had to have one Planning Commission member on it. So thank you, Commissioner Fraga Sains, for holding that position for us.
Thank you.
With that being said, I shall adjourn our Planning Commission meeting to the Thursday, September 8th at 7 p.m. See you then.